Welcome back to the Triple Coverage Podcast. I'm Zach Brown, and Mitchell will be joining us here shortly. He is coaching basketball now, so he just had basketball practice. He is on the way home from that. Um, I'm sure he'll tell us all about it when he gets on the podcast. We should be hopping on here in the next 5-10 minutes, but we'll go ahead and get started without him. And then, unfortunately, Cody's not going to be able to join us tonight. Feels like he hasn't been on in a long time. So, next time he's on, he's going to be more of a guest than a co-host. But a lot to talk about this week. A lot going on in college football. Lots that happened in the last week. We got some coaching carousel rumors. We've got some other things going on. We've got we're going to recap last week's games and look forward to this week's games. Some pretty big games going on this week. So we got a lot to talk about. So let's go right ahead and get into it. Let's start off with some coaching carousel. That's kind of where we've started each week. No new coaches have been fired this past week, but some of the vacancies, there's been lots of rumors that have been ramping up over the last few days with some of the available openings. Lane Kiffin still has yet to sign an extension with Ole Miss. So there was a fake report that had come out that said that he had signed a 4-year extension with Ole Miss. He wasn't going anywhere, but that turned out to not be true. And he has yet to sign an extension with Ole Miss. And so, with all these other big names out there, that when their names were mentioned for other jobs, they came out and they signed extensions to kind of take their name out of the running, take their name out of the hat. Lane Kiffin is really one of the only one that has not done that yet. And so that I'm starting to become more and more of the belief that he's going to leave. I kind of was already convinced that he would take the LSU job. But to be honest with you, as the weeks go on, I'm kind of starting to lean that he might take the Florida job, as much as I don't want him to. There are just some things that I'm seeing on Twitter. And of course, you can't believe everything you see on X. And of course, the Florida fan base is going to make it appear like that it's favorable towards them. But there are some, and Lane Kiffin is the kind of guy that would do things like this, where he would put like subliminal messages on things he posts. And he's referenced I think it's a quote that he says often on his social media page, or at least he's been saying it a lot more lately, where he says "spot the ball," and apparently that phrase "spot the ball" was the team motto for the Florida Gators this past year. And from my understanding, and maybe I don't know all the facts, whatever, but from my understanding, is Lane Kiffin hasn't started using that phrase until the last couple of weeks. And it could just be a coincidence, could all mean nothing. Could be Lane Kiffin just playing games with us, trying to make people think that he's going to take that. Oh, and here's Mitchell. Welcome in.
Hold on.
I can hear you. You good? Got Mitchell in here getting ready. But anyways, I'll continue the thought that I was on. The last over the last few weeks, just things that he's been putting on his social media page is kind of making me start to lean towards Florida for Lane Kiffin. As much as I don't want that to be true, as much as I don't want that to be the case of where he ends up going, I do think that I'm starting to lean that direction now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Awesome.
All right. So we started off with some coaching carousel news.
Okay.
There's not been any new firings, but I've just been talking about some of the hot topics around some of the vacancies. And I started off with Lane Kiffin not signing an extension with Ole Miss, so that kind of leaves his status at Ole Miss up in the air. The last several weeks, he's been and Lane Kiffin is this kind of person, kind of putting out cryptic X posts. And he's been posting the same phrase over and over again where he says spot the ball. And that phrase spot the ball was the team motto for the Florida Gators this past season. So there's some people on X that are making that connection. I know Vegas odds are pretty high for Lane Kiffin to end up there now. So as much as I don't want him to end up in Florida, it's kind of leaning that way. But Lane Kiffin is also the kind of guy to make you think one thing, to start playing mind games with you, make you think he's going to go one direction and end up not doing that. So
definitely so.
We'll see. So do you have you seen any of these tweets? Have you any thoughts on it?
I think the thing is like right when the LSU job came free, everyone was like, okay, well, Florida's not going to get Lane. That's Lane's job. But I think that LSU has grossly mishandled things early on, and it's really turning people off. They're currently in a dispute with Brian Kelly over his buyout. And they're trying to basically be like, I don't want to give you this much money, even though this is what we signed. This is a contract we signed. So it's not a good look for LSU right now. And I think that's going to turn Lane Kiffin off of that job, which is going to basically hand Florida Lane Kiffin if he wants to leave Ole Miss, in my opinion. So I think it's a interesting development, because I think we all thought right when the LSU job was free that was going to be where Lane goes.
Yeah. And on the subject of LSU, let's just segue into that. LSU not wanting to pay Brian Kelly his buyout. They tried to come to two different agreements. Brian Kelly rejected both of them. And he said he is owed his full $54 million. Which, I mean, if you signed a contract, you got to honor it. I'm also seeing some other, and this is all speculation. A lot of what we say on the show is speculation. That's fine. There is some speculation that LSU is seeking to fire him for cause. And the rumors that I'm hearing is that he was having an affair on his wife with the realtor that sold him his house. And so that would fall under the morality clause in his contract and could be a for-cause firing.
We're going deep into the weeds right now.
Yeah, and again, that's all speculation. I don't know if that's true or not, but obviously LSU thinks that they have enough there for a for-cause firing, because not performing well is not a for-cause fire. You can't fire him for cause just because he's not winning games. Right. So obviously LSU thinks that they have something there, and that's the only reason why I brought that up. It could be that. It could be – and considering the things I've heard about Brian Kelly, that honestly would not surprise me if that were true of him. But we'll see what happens there. And also on the subject of LSU, and I know you and I kind of had the same opinion about this. I don't think it's going to happen. But Vegas, if you look on the Vegas odds for the next head coach at LSU, it is Nick Saban at number 1 at plus 200, which is absolutely insane. Because Vegas wouldn't put him up there if there was no chance. If there was zero chance he's taking that job, he wouldn't be number 1 on the boards.
Yeah.
That means a lot of people are putting money on that right now. There's been a lot of talks. Nick Saban himself has said that he really doesn't want to get back into coaching, but Miss Terry could convince him for the money. And all LSU needs to do is just talk to Miss Terry, show her the money, and she's going to make him get back into coaching.
Look, Miss Terry's just tired of Saban being at home.
Yeah, that's probably the bulk of it right there. But how crazy would it be to have Nick Saban back at LSU, back where he won his first national title, where he probably should have never left. Had he never taken the Miami Dolphins job, how different the SEC would look. LSU would be the current state, would be what Alabama is now. He'd have 7 national championships at LSU, maybe more, who knows. But, he has a chance to go back there. And, again, I personally don't think he's going to take the job. But I do think it is interesting that he is number 1 in betting odds, because, look, Vegas doesn't put stuff out there that's a guaranteed loss. If they're guaranteed to lose money, they're not going to put it out there. So somebody in Vegas knows something. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I don't think it's happening, but I think you make a good point, because If he was sitting there with like plus 10,000 odds, then it'd be like, okay. But he's sitting there with like plus 200. He's the number one odds. So if you see someone with plus 200 odds, you're usually going to bet him, right? And that means it's usually going to happen.
Yeah. He's only 73. He looks like he's in great shape. You can tell he still loves the game. You can tell he still has a mind for it, and he could definitely do it. Maybe Saban realizes, hey, maybe just a year off was all I needed. Maybe he just needed a year off to refresh himself. I don't know.
I mean, that's what Urban did. Urban Meyer did that.
Well, he had to fake a health scare to do that.
Right. But
whereas Nick Saban was just like, I just needed a year off. We're good.
Get paid to be on ESPN and then go back. Yeah.
But so that's LSU. You put it in the group chat yesterday that there's a lot of rumors about Eli Drinkwitz. He's on a lot of people's hot boards for their jobs, but apparently there was something circulating on some message boards yesterday that he informed his team he's taking the Penn State job. I highly doubt that he told his team he's taking the Penn State job in the middle of the season. Missouri still has 3 games to go. They still have a shot, a very outside chance of making the playoff, but they still have a chance to make the playoff maybe, depending on how they finish the season. I highly doubt he had a team meeting and told them he's taking Penn State. That doesn't mean he doesn't take the job. That doesn't mean he hasn't already. I just don't think that a team meeting has happened where he told his players that he's going to Penn State.
I think there's that. Some people blow those kind of things out of proportion, but like there's things with a rumor and then stuff like that. It's just like makes it hard to believe.
But I mean, if he takes that job, would Bo Pribula leave Penn State to go to Missouri and then go back to Penn State?
I think they like that Grunkemeyer kid, dude. He's getting better every week.
You mean Zollers? Or are you talking about Penn State?
I'm talking about Penn State.
Oh. I haven't seen him play.
Grunkemeyer played really, really well. I know we'll get into this game, but played really, really well against Indiana.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that game, so I don't know. And then there was another rumor, and I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, of Dabo Swinney interested in the Arkansas job. I mentioned a few weeks ago that there were some rumors that his camp had reached out to the Arkansas brass about the job. And then now that rumor has all of a sudden popped back up like 4 or 5 weeks later.
Crazy.
So, there's that old saying where there's smoke, there's fire. If there's smoke surrounding that situation, there's probably something to it. Again, Dabo Swinney could stay put at Clemson. Maybe this is just a leverage play to get Clemson to commit to him and give him more money or something. I don't know. But Dabo Swinney to Arkansas would be a huge upgrade for Arkansas, but would also be a huge shakeup in college football in general.
I mean, you look at what Arkansas did on the college basketball side, getting John Calipari from Kentucky. Yeah. This would be very, very similar.
Get those Tyson Chicken guys to fork over some money, and they can get somebody over there.
Mm-hmm. Get the Duggars to send some money in.
The Duggars. I don't think the Duggars are invested in the University of Arkansas, but the Tyson Chicken guy, hey, he's making a lot of money. All right, and then that's kind of all on the coaching carousel news that I have. This is kind of a minor story. We don't even have to really talk about it, but I did see yesterday that UCLA has finalized a deal to move all of their home games to SoFi Stadium. They will no longer call the Rose Bowl home, which is kind of sad for college football to abandon the Rose Bowl like that. Now, the Rose Bowl game is probably still going to happen, but if I was a UCLA fan, which I'm definitely not, and I don't think there are very many of those considering who goes to the games, but I would be very upset because that's an iconic stadium you're playing your football games in, and then now you're going to move to SoFi Stadium and NFL Stadium.
I'm under the impression I don't think that UCLA deserved to play there, to be honest with you. So it's like I don't have a problem with it. I think that
it has less seats than the Rose Bowl, which I guess that works out because you only have their average attendance is like 4,500 a game.
Crazy.
Which is insane. Basically a North Gwinnett High School football game. Like our local high school on a big game will get about 4,500 people. So that's just
That's ridiculous.
So that was just a minor story that I saw that was interesting. That was college football related. But let's move on to the recap from last week. Before we do that, do you want to mention anything about your basketball team you're coaching?
I mean, we had a good practice tonight. We have a new kid. We had a kid that wasn't there for the first practice, but he actually plays on Archer's varsity team. So he's just kind of doing rec on the side. So he's going to be
He's
a demon.
allowed to do that?
Yeah. He's going to be a demon. So,
but isn't the schedules going to conflict? Because
yes, he'll miss a couple of he'll miss a lot of our practices, but he's going to be very good. He was very good. So it's a good group of kids. We got a lot of work to do. So I need to see them on a court playing an actual game before I can make a real assessment. But I think we have talented kids. So
it's a lot of coach speak from Coach Mitchell right there.
Hey,
yeah, they call you Coach Mitch or Coach Graham. What do they call
Coach
you?
Graham.
Coach Graham.
Coach Graham. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get back into college football. Let's talk a little bit about Georgia Mississippi State last week.
Yes.
I think this was the most complete game that we saw the Dogs play all year. I think this game, even though it was not as lopsided, so to speak, as the Kentucky game, I felt like we played better against Mississippi State than we did against Kentucky. I think this Mississippi State team is better than Kentucky. Really, Mississippi State scored 2 touchdowns in garbage time. And all 3 touchdowns were rushing touchdowns by the backup quarterback from like the 2-yard line. So we just played a complete game for the first time. Finally saw a pass rush be generated. And I just thought it was a great all-around performance. Georgia's offense has not slowed down since the Alabama game.
No.
And they just keep rolling.
I think we're explosive. I mean, we're very explosive, and the way that we're getting, Chauncey Bowens had a great week last week against Florida, and then this week it was Nate Frazier that took off, had 181 yards. That was just going all over the place. And then Noah Thomas is stepping up now. Gunner this is going to be kind of weird to say. I think this was probably one of Gunner's best games. He was very in control of the offense. He was making the right reads. He was making those second-level throws that a lot of people have been critical about him not being able to make. He was making a lot of those throws.
Layered throws.
Yeah, layered balls, stuff like that. This was a very complete game. And then, like to your point, the score doesn't indicate how dominant we were in this game. We were up 38-7 at one point in this game. Mississippi State led this game 7-0. So we scored 38 unanswered on Mississippi State. We were able to run the ball at will. We ran for 303 yards. And it is starting to now we're actually starting to hear, wow, Mike Bobo is doing a great job. Mike Bobo is doing a great job with this
turntables. How the turntables on Mike Bobo.
And it's crazy because you would think that he was the worst offensive coordinator ever, but the offense is humming. We have that vintage Georgia run game back. Like, we are leaning on the run, and our quarterback is not making mistakes. I don't know why he's not more in the Heisman talk than he is right now, because
crime, absolute crime.
He's got 22 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, guys. 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But that's neither here nor there. I think the 2 most important people in this game was Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen. They were havoc. They were causing havoc all game. They were in the backfield consistently. You could. I mean, Raylan Wilson had 1.5 sacks. CJ Allen had a half sack. Quintavious Johnson had half a sack. Christian Miller had half a sack. We haven't seen that this year. Yeah. And we're gearing up for the Texas game in which the Georgia pass rush didn't look better last year than it did against Texas. In that game against Texas, I think that we're putting everything together. I think that we're peaking at the right time. And this was what we kind of expected out of Georgia this year, was this kind of team. But then you look at this roster, and you got to take a step back, because 33% of this roster is freshmen.
Yeah.
57% of this roster is freshmen or sophomores.
Yeah.
So this might be the worst that we're going to be. And we're peaking at the right time. Kirby's coaching his butt off. And guys like Elias Williams are going to keep getting touches, are going to keep getting more involved. And then all of a sudden, Zach Branch is averaging like nine catches a game, which has been great. So it's a very, very positive game. This Mississippi State team has played everyone tough this year. I think really their only blowouts this year was us, and I think A&M blew them out. But A&M's blown everyone out. So
no, they haven't. A&M's had a lot of close games.
Well, A&M's blown out the last couple of games. They 31-9 against A&M, but they've played everyone else really close. So I think this was a very underrated win.
Yeah. Listen, Mississippi State is not not even top 10 teams in the SEC, but it was still a signature win. And I want to touch on your point about Gunnar Stockton and the Heisman race. I'm seeing a lot of people say that Mendoza is a lock. Can somebody explain to me how Mendoza's resume is better than Gunnar Stockton's? I don't see how his resume is better. He has a win over Oregon. Okay, that's a great win. But Gunnar Stockton has more ranked wins than Mendoza does. Even in his loss to Alabama, he still had a good game. He didn't play poorly in that game either. It took a miraculous catch for Indiana to win that game against Penn State last week. If that guy doesn't get the toe tap, are we still talking Mendoza winning the Heisman? And he had a great drive. It was a game-winning drive. Mendoza played well, and I'm not saying he shouldn't get an invite to New York, but I don't understand how Gunnar Stockton is not a top 5 in Heisman right now. I think he's like down at like 12. I don't understand how he could be so low. It makes no sense to me. I get that he's got great weapons around him, but that's never stopped anybody else before from winning a Heisman Trophy. I mean, he is literally commanding this offense. He's any other quarterback. I don't know if we're 8-1, 9-1, whatever our record is right now. I don't know. I just don't understand how his resume is like 11 spots worse than Mendoza. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, now if you're telling me right now who I think the Heisman is, I don't think the Heisman winner right now is Gunnar. I think the Heisman right now is probably Ty Simpson. Is either Ty Simpson, Julian Sayin, Marcel Reed, even. Like Marcel Reed's been really, really good.
Julian Sayin is up there. Now, let's say this weekend, Gunnar Stockton has another great win, has another great performance against Texas, and we beat Texas by more than 7 points. Then you do resume comparisons to Julian Sayin, and Gunnar Stockton is still better than Julian Sayin. So, like, I don't understand how – I don't know what the Heisman voters are looking at for him to be that low on Heisman odds. I don't understand it at all.
I mean, I think that there's going to be – I think when Stetson was invited to New York, it was a late push to get him into New York, even though he deserved it all year. I think it might be the same this year. But to be honest with you, I don't care if my quarterback wins the Heisman.
I don't either. I don't really care either. I feel like there's almost, and this is going to sound very like Georgia biased of me. I think there's some kind of almost a discrediting of any great Georgia player. And I don't know what it is. 2 years ago, not last year, but 2 years ago, Carson Beck should have gotten Heisman Trophy considerations. He wasn't even top 10 in voting. I just don't understand. So good 2 years ago. What does a Georgia quarterback have to do in order to get considered for it? I just don't understand. We're playing the right strength of schedule. I don't know. Which, speaking of strength of schedule, we didn't even talk about the latest college football playoff rankings, which I guess we can make a little bit of a tangent on that right now.
I mean, is there any other real games that you want to like break down in general, like from last week? I feel like there wasn't.
Oregon, Iowa. That was a typical Big Ten game. Oregon barely squeaked out of that one. It's always hard to win in Kinnick Stadium, but they were fortunate to come out with a win. I didn't really watch that game, but
did you watch Alabama LSU?
I did watch a good bit of that game. I didn't watch all of it. I watched a good bit of it. Once I saw how lopsided it was in the second half, I kind of lost interest.
But it wasn't lopsided in the second half.
I think the score was a little deceptive because while Alabama was struggling offensively, I was never with how bad LSU was offensively. I never in my mind thought LSU's winning this game. Never
There
even
was
thought
a
they had
mo-
a chance.
There was a
of
moment
winning
in
this game.
time where I thought they had a chance, and they turned the ball over. But
that interim coach does not know what he's doing. I mean,
Right.
the clock management, the decisions he made were just awful in that game.
Now, I do like that he brought in Michael Van Buren
Yeah,
for a little bit of a shot in the arm. I think he made some good throws in this game. There was a couple of drops. I think that Alabama's offense definitely showed. Look, we talk about it every week. They cannot run the football.
right.
26 carries for 56 yards. It's 2.2 yards per carry this week or last week. So they are fully reliant upon Ty Simpson in the pass game right now. And I don't know if that is sustainable.
I mean, we say it's not sustainable, but we're 9 games deep and they're 8-1.
But is that sustainable against? Are they going to beat an Ohio State by not being able to run the football?
I mean, probably not, but I mean, let's look at Ryan Grubb's history. Ryan Grubb has never had a great running attack, and they went to a national championship in Washington 2 years ago.
But Ryan Grubb's
They
never
lost.
had, yeah.
They lost the game, but they still made it there without much of a running game. So, is it enough to win a national championship? Probably not, but it's at least good enough to make a deep run. I mean,
but is Alabama satisfied with a deep run? They want championships.
Yeah, but you're going to have to accept in a 12-team playoff era, you're never going to see Nick Saban again. You're never going to see that run of dominance again. And I think Alabama fans, at least now in year 2, kind of seeing some of the bounce back success of Kalen DeBoer. I think they kind of understand that now.
Yeah.
Listen, Nick Saban's never going to be replicated, especially because this is not the BCS era. This is a playoff era. And even in the playoff era, we didn't see Nick Saban dominate quite as much because he had to play more games, more meaningful games. It's hard. It's going to be hard to win 4 games to win a national championship for anybody.
Yeah.
You have to get hot at the right time. You have to have luck that all your players are going to stay healthy at the right time. It's just there's a lot of factors. But, yeah, Alabama, they can't run the ball, but it hasn't seemed to really hurt them other than week 1. But that was because Ty Simpson just had a bad game. And I think Florida State spent their entire offseason preparing for one game because they look bad.
Yeah.
Auburn, Vandy, that Auburn offense came alive. They finally looked like they were supposed to look.
Which
it's kind of sad.
As an Alabama fan, I bet has them shaking because this is the exact type of Auburn team that beats Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those Auburn guys, they love DJ Durkin and they played for him, and they should have won that game.
I'm going to say this right now. If DJ Durkin and Auburn beat Alabama,
he's the next head coach at Auburn.
He's their head coach. 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, he left a good situation at Texas A&M to come to Auburn, and then he hasn't taken any other jobs. I think he likes it there.
Yeah.
And I know Auburn's wanting a big splash hire, but I think DJ Durkin might be your guy, honestly. I think he's the right guy for the job.
Yep.
Wake Forest, shocking Virginia. Wake Forest has just been one of those teams this year. I'm telling you, Dickert, he's going to have his name on some more people's hot boards. People are going to start looking at him to be a head coach for them. Maybe not this year, but if he continues, I mean, he's 5-4 or 6-4 with Robbie Ashford at quarterback.
6-3.
6-3 with Robbie Ashford at quarterback.
Could be 7-2.
That is a good coach for a team Wake Forest, that by all means should have finished last in the ACC this year, probably was projected to win maybe 2 or 3 games, and they're probably going to go 8-4, 7-5 at worst. That, I mean, we don't talk about Dickert enough.
They play
that's a
North
good
Carolina,
coach.
Delaware, and at Duke.
Yeah, that smells like 8-4 to me. Could be 9-3.
Sounds like 8-4. Now,
I
think this is a good segue into the college football playoff talk, is that the ACC has crumbled.
Yes.
The ACC has crumbled. Here, I'm going to share my screen here.
ACC for sure is getting only one team in.
And I want to make a point here. There is a world, Zach, ACC gets no team.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw what was his? Was it the guy from On3 who
Josh
said
Pate
that
was talking about it too.
There is a world where Duke, an 8-4 Duke, doesn't make the playoff.
Here it is. So if 8-4 Duke wins the ACC, which right now
It's a possibility.
Yeah, they're in it. So ACC right now, Duke is in it.
But it's top 5 conference champion. So who would the second group of 5 champion be in? Over
James
Duke?
Madison.
Oh.
James Madison is 8-1 right now, 6-0 in the conference.
Yeah.
And very highly, they're ranked in the AP.
Can you imagine if ACC gets no team in? Can you imagine that?
We would get USF and James Madison
we would relegate ACC to the group of 6 to group of 7. Let's just make the American the 4th Power 4 conference.
Yeah, let's do it. So these are the rankings right now. Stop me if you have any things you want to talk about. Cincinnati at 25, South Florida jumps back in as the highest ranked group of 5 at 24, Tennessee at 23, Pitt at 22. Iowa only drops 1 spot after a good loss to Oregon. Louisville at 20 after a loss. Virginia drops to 19 after a loss. Michigan, this is the team right now that is just hanging around. Michigan is just.
I predicted they would be my last team in. I said
Michigan is hanging around
and be the last team in.
And look, there is a world where if Michigan gets a win over Ohio State, they're in the Big Ten championship.
They're going to be the last team in. My prediction is going to be true. They're going to be the last team in.
There's USC, who plays Oregon. They play Iowa this week. Tough gauntlet. Georgia Tech, the lowest ranked 1-loss team in all of college football right now, sitting at 8-1. I know Cody probably has his thoughts on that.
Going to finish 10-2.
I think that Georgia Tech, and I don't know if the committee's supposed to do this, I think the committee looks at Georgia Tech's loss or win against Wake Forest as a loss because of how bad the officiating was.
Yeah.
I think they could do that. Miami is technically the highest ranked ACC team right now, but Miami has no path to the ACC championship unless pure carnage happens. They have no path to the ACC championship game. They're going to have to hope for a lot of losses ahead of them to get in right now. Vanderbilt, there is a path for Vanderbilt right now. Vanderbilt, if they win out, I think Vanderbilt's in at 10-2. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 10-2 SEC. They're putting them in.
10-2. That would be a win over. That would be a win over Tennessee the last week as well.
Yeah,
to go into Rocky Top.
They put them in.
Utah sitting at 7-2. BYU 8-1. This is where it gets important because this 10 and 11 spot, both of these teams are going on the road this week.
I don't see how Texas is the 10th team in the nation. I don't see it, but brand bias.
I think so too. I think we have to start talking about the possibility of Texas getting in at 9-3.
They will. They 100%. Just off of brand and last name of their quarterback alone, they will put a 9-3 Texas team in the playoff.
But this is why, Zach, because If Texas loses to Georgia this week, which I think we're both going to predict them to lose this week to Georgia on the road, last week of the season, A&M has to come to them. If Texas wins that game, I think they're in.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And
I
so
agree with
we're
you.
going now Notre Dame.
Still confused as to why Notre Dame is ranked above Miami when they have same record and
With a
Miami
head-to-head loss.
has the head-to-head.
Yep.
So that doesn't make any sense to me.
Now, this one doesn't make any sense to me. Why did Oregon move a slot down? Why did Oregon fall below Ole Miss after a good road win against Iowa, a ranked team?
So I'm telling you, man, this committee might be one of the worst committees we've ever had. This committee sucks. The dude went on TV and tried to explain his reasoning for all these rankings, and he's contradicting himself left and right. He's talking about how they value strength of schedule, but yet Texas A&M has the number 1 strength of record, number 4 strength of schedule, and they won't move him ahead of Indiana, who has played literally no one in the non-conference games. We keep going this way. We're not going to see Texas A&M Notre Dame in a non-con slot anymore. We're not going to see games like we're just going to see the Indiana non-con slot where we're playing the Tennessee School for the Deaf.
Yep.
Every single non-con game.
Yep.
And literally this past offseason, the committee said they're going to value strength of schedule over everything else. And that is the reason why Greg Sankey moved us to a 9-game conference schedule and is forcing every team to play at least one Power 4 opponent in the non-con. But if they're not going to value it, then what was the point of that move?
Nothing. Yep. Because Ole Miss got moved ahead of Oregon for beating the Citadel.
Yeah, just it makes no sense. The committee said that they spent the most time debating whether Texas Tech or Ole Miss should be number 6. Why was that the one you spent the most time on? That makes no sense to me.
Texas Tech just walloped an undefeated BYU.
Which, yeah, I get that, but why was that the one you spent the most time on?
Oh, I know. I'm telling you, it should be clear that Texas Tech is 6.
Yeah.
And I think if everything holds right now, everyone from 6 to 1 wins out, I think Texas Tech will jump Georgia if they win the Big 12 championship.
Sure.
Which is not a big deal.
Don't care.
Not a big deal.
I mean, right now there's not a path for Georgia to get in the SEC title game, but if they do and they win, they're getting one of those top 4 slots, one of those bye weeks.
If A&M loses, an SEC game, I think we're in.
Yeah, especially if they lose to Texas and we beat Texas.
I think we're in, which I don't care really.
I don't know if I necessarily even want to play in the SEC championship game, but you know,
I don't think I think if we make the SEC championship game, we're in. We're not going to not be in the playoff. So that's my thing. I mean, look, Ohio State clear number 1. Indiana, Texas. I know that you think Texas A&M is probably above Indiana, and could be number 1 at this point too. But I think Ohio State's going to hold there until they lose.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're the number 1. They're the national champs from last year.
Ohio State's strength of schedule is booty. It's not good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they're going to keep moving Texas up so that Ohio State's strength of schedule looks good because they beat them.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's it for that. Obviously, we're going to have some movement this week because 10 plays 5 and 11 plays 4 and Notre Dame plays Pittsburgh. So we're going to have some movement this week. It's going to be really interesting to see. And then I think that's another good segue into, making our picks for the week. If you want to tell us where we stand.
Yes. Let me open up the document here. So I believe Cody won the week last week. But as it stands right now, I'm still in the lead with 129 points. Cody's got 124, and Mitchell, you have 109. So we're running out of weeks for you to catch up.
That's fine.
This week is as good a week as any to start.
I've
So
got something in my pocket this week for Superdog that I think is gonna get me.
you need it.
I do.
All right, first game is we actually have 2 Friday night games this week. We're picking Friday Night Chaos ACC. The last several Friday night ACC games, I think the underdog has won just about every single time. And this is Clemson traveling to Louisville. Clemson actually got a pretty big win against Florida State last week, relatively speaking, big win. But that team showed up for Dabo. It seemed like the season's lost, but they showed up for Dabo, and they say what you want about Dabo Swinney. That team still loves him, and they still play for him. They still play hard for him. And I think there's a perfect opportunity for some chaos here for Clemson to win this game. However, I do think Louisville is gonna bounce back after that bad loss to Cal last week. I think Jeff Brom is going to have his team ready. Jeff Brom doesn't typically lose back-to-back games, especially not back-to-back home games. I think Louisville wins, and they win it close. I think it's going to be down to the wire, but I think Louisville makes one less mistake than Clemson does. I think maybe Klubnik maybe throws a pick late in the game, or Miller Moss makes a big throw late in the game, something like that. But Louisville wins the game close.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I think if Louisville would have won last week, then I would be more apt to pick Clemson in this game. I think that because coming in 8-1, they'd probably be top 15 with a lot of playoff aspirations ahead of them. I think now Louisville's going to have to. They're going to be pressing. They're going to need this win. So I got Louisville close.
Yeah, let me. Cody is actually going to go Clemson close.
Nice.
All right, the next Friday night game is Minnesota at Oregon. Again, I have to pick the 10 best games that I can find. All right, but this Minnesota team has played pretty well. I like their young freshman quarterback. Oregon basically barely squeaked one out against Iowa last week, and Oregon has not looked the same this season. They've looked very vulnerable, especially the last 4 or 5 weeks. So this could be a chance for maybe the Friday night chaos happens here. But what's your pick on this game?
I don't think the Friday night chaos happens here. I think Oregon's got to keep winning. They've got to keep because I think that Oregon's at a point where their resume isn't good enough to where if it was between them and Vanderbilt to get a final spot at 10-2, I think that Vandy would get it over them. So I think Oregon's got to keep winning. Oregon's got to go 11-1. So I think Oregon wins this game comfortable at home. They're not going to be in the elements. They've been in the elements the last 2 weeks. They're finally going to be at home. Dan Lanning doesn't have to get soaked for 3 straight weeks.
I've got Oregon in a blowout. I think they blow out this Minnesota team. I like this Minnesota team, but we saw what happened the last time they played a physical defense in Iowa. They were down like 35-0 in the first quarter. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's going to be maybe that out of hand, but I do think Oregon, like they need to not only start winning, they need to start making some statement wins, because Oregon's been slipping down the ranks and they're still winning games. So I think the committee wants to see them get a statement win, and I think they need one. So give me Oregon. I think Oregon big. Cody's also going to go with Oregon big here.
Awesome.
All right, Arizona at Cincinnati. Cincinnati coming off a loss last week. I think it was last week against Utah.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. They're still alive in the Big 12 race, if I'm not mistaken. And you've got Arizona, who not necessarily alive in the race, but they're still a good team that can play spoiler. I'm going to go with Cincinnati to win this game comfortable. I think Brendan Sorsby has a great game here. I think the defense steps up and makes a couple big plays here. But give me the Bearcats at home to win a comfortable one.
Yeah, Arizona's playing good football right now, I think, but Cincinnati needs it more. I think it's going to be a close game. I think that Arizona is going to be able to keep it close through the air. Give me Cincinnati close.
All right, and Cody's going to go with you, Cincinnati close. All right, Oklahoma at Alabama. And I think I know which direction you're going to go based on
kind of have to
the trends. But I'm just going to let you go first on this one.
Yeah, look, I think that we have seen that what John Mateer can be. And when John Mateer's at full strength, they've been really, really good. That defense is very good at creating havoc. R. Mason Thomas is one of the best defensive ends in football. I think he'll be able to get to Ty Simpson. Now, if I was a betting man, I'd pick Alabama in this game. But I need points. I think I'm going to take Oklahoma close.
That's respectable.
I need points. I think Oklahoma can win this game. We saw what they did last year. I know it's a completely different Alabama team, but that was also a much worse Oklahoma team. I think that this is a game Oklahoma can win. This is a game where Alabama can slip up.
Yeah. I'm going to go Alabama comfortable. I think them being at home, they want to avenge last year's loss. I mean, that was a bad loss last year. They didn't just lose the game. They didn't even get in the end zone. They lost 24-6 was the final score. They just looked bad. I think they're going to want to avenge that loss. Give me Alabama comfortable. Oklahoma has not looked the same the last couple of weeks. I know they got a big win over Tennessee last week. But in the battle for who's the most crimson of all the crimsons, I got to take the Crimson Tide.
Yep.
Cody is going to go with Alabama comfortable as well. Which
perfect opportunity.
Fun fact, Kalen DeBoer is a perfect 16-0 in the black hoodie. And they have now started – they literally now keep the black hoodie in a special location that nobody knows where it is. That's how superstitious Alabama is about that black hoodie.
So stupid.
Virginia at Duke. Virginia coming off of a bad loss last week. They kind of been playing with fire the last couple of weeks and finally came back to bite them. Yep. And then Duke. I really don't know why this keeps happening, but Vegas must know something because Duke keeps getting favored in these games. And they're not only favored by Vegas, they're also favored by ESPN to win this game. And I'm going to go with the experts. I got Duke winning this game close at home. I don't know why. The last time I picked Duke to win a game that I didn't really think that the experts thought they'd win, they got blown out by Georgia Tech. But I'm going to go with the Dukies again. I'm going to go for chaos in the ACC. I'm going to go for an 8-4 Duke Blue Devils to win the ACC title and not make the playoff because that would just be crazy. So give me Duke, and I think Duke wins comfortable against Virginia at home.
I have Duke comfortable as well. I think Darian Mensah look, Virginia has been a good story this year. That offense is bad. And I think Darian Mensah's had a great year. 2,700 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's only in the air. And he's done more with his legs as well. I think Duke's going to be able to win this game comfortable at home and basically just send Virginia into a tailspin.
Cody is also going to go with Duke close.
Do you have Duke close or Duke comfortable? You said both.
I have Duke comfortable.
Okay, I have Duke comfortable as well.
All right. NC State at Miami. NC State coming off a big upset against Georgia Tech. You just never know what you're going to get with this NC State team. They will lose to teams they have no business losing to, and then they'll beat teams they have no business beating. So I never have any idea what to think with this NC State team. So I'm going to let you take the lead on this game.
Yeah, I think Miami has to win games. Miami has to win games convincingly. So I've got Miami comfortable at home. I think Carson Beck's going to have a really good game. I think this could be shootout-ish, but Miami's favored by 16.5 in this game. Give me NC State to cover, Miami to win. So Miami comfortable.
I've got the Hurricanes, and I've got the Hurricanes in a blowout. I've got another blowout pick here. Like you said, I think they've got to win this game. I think Mario Cristobal has to start getting better in November. They need to make a statement here. They need to win this game, and they need to win it by a lot because they are way too far down in the rankings for them to sneak in right now. They're going to have to start not only winning games, but kind of like with Oregon, they're going to have to start making some statement wins.
Yep.
So give me Miami to win big. Cody's got Miami winning the game close. So we've got Miami, but all three parts of the spectrum there for a Miami win. Next one, we've got a ranked matchup between Iowa and USC. Iowa traveling to Southern California. This is going to be, I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. You got two contrasting styles. but yet two similar records in the Big Ten. And I've got USC winning this game comfortable. They're going to be at home. I think Jaden Maeva, I've been very impressed with him all season. He doesn't turn the football over. He plays well, and I think they get a comfortable win at home against the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I've got USC winning this game close. I think that USC has shown this year, and Lincoln Riley's really coached well this team. They've been able to win those Big Ten type games this year. Lower scoring, running the ball, not trying to be Ferraris and fly down the field. This is a really well-rounded team. This is going to be advantage USC because they're at home, and it's going to be really close. Iowa will limit possessions in this football game, and so I think that they're going to do just that. But USC can pull it out because I just don't – Maeva is better than Gronowski. So I think that's where the difference is.
Yeah, and Cody's going to go with USC close as well. Texas at UGA. This should have been the game of the week. This should have been where College Game Day went. But I understand they don't want to repeat places. So, but I think this is going to be the game of the week, the game that most people are going to be watching. And I think Georgia puts it together this week again. I think they roll off the momentum they had last week. I think kind of the way that Alabama has a Kirby Smart's number. I think we have Texas's number. I think that we're going to be Steve Sarkisian's kryptonite as long as he's in the SEC. Give me Georgia to win comfortable at home. It's a night game. It's our only night home game of the year. Do we have a night game against Bama, or was that a 3:30 kick?
It was a night game.
Oh, it was a night game.
We're 0-1 in home night games.
Never mind. But I have a hard time thinking that we lose two home games in the same year. I just don't see it. Arch Manning has not been impressive. I know he's starting to get hyped up again because he had one good game last week. But, yeah, give me Georgia close. I think we're putting it together. And I think bringing Billy Napier on was a strategic play, not because Billy Napier beat Texas. I don't think it was about Texas. I think bringing Billy Napier in was more about Georgia. I think what Kirby Smart was doing was asking, hey, when you scouted us, what were you seeing? What tendencies were you seeing? And I think he's going to use that information to break tendencies, to look a little bit different on both sides of the ball. Give me Georgia comfortable.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. I got Georgia comfortable. I think it's going to be a game where we're going to start fast. I actually think this is a game where we start fast at home. I think we're going to be able to get a couple scores up, and I just don't know if Texas has the firepower to catch up. Texas offense is coming around, right? I mean, they've looked a lot better. They had a huge win against Vanderbilt. That was a great win. But on the road this year, Texas has not been good. They almost lost to Kentucky. They almost lost to Mississippi State. They did lose to Florida. Those are three of the worst teams in the SEC that on the road they have struggled. They lost against Ohio State, which obviously is number one team in the country, on the road. So they have deficiencies on the road. This place is going to be loud. It's going to be perfect. It's going to be perfect weather. Fans are going to be out in bunches. I think Georgia wins this game comfortable. I think Gunnar Stockton in the run game in the second half just kind of puts the nail in the coffin. I can see this game being like a 27-14 or 27-13 type game where we could score more, but we kind of just rein it in at the end.
Yeah. Listen, everybody wants to talk about the Texas defense in this game, but that Texas defense has let up a lot of points and a lot of yards the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
Texas defense doesn't really scare me all that much right now. Cody's going to go Georgia close. I think it's the first time he's picked Georgia in the last 4 weeks.
It's crazy.
But he's going to go Georgia close. Next one, TCU at BYU. That's another big Big 12 game. BYU needs to bounce back after the loss last week. TCU, I think, still has a little bit of a shred of hope in the Big 12, so they kind of need this game as well. Mitchell, give me your thoughts on this game.
I've got BYU close. I think them being at home, they're in a big bounce back spot. They can't afford another loss as well because they're gonna be under a microscope very hard because of the loss to Texas Tech. And they have a big game next week. They got to go to Cincinnati, which is going to be pivotal in the Big 12. I just think BYU gets it done on the ground. I think Bear Bachmeyer is not going to be forced into doing a lot. I think that's going to be a good success plan for BYU to win this game close.
Yeah, I've got BYU comfortable. I don't think the Furries have it in them to win the game this Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Kalani Sitake is going to have the team ready. They want to bounce back because they didn't just lose to Texas Tech. They kind of got embarrassed on both sides of the ball. Yep. Really couldn't do much offensively. I think they're going to want to bounce back from that. They're going to play a little bit mad, a little bit angry, and I think they win this game comfortably at home. And Cody has BYU close. So really the only chance you have at gaining any ground is the Alabama-Oklahoma game. The last game, the game of the week, I don't know why Game Day picked this one, but Notre Dame travels to Pitt for another ranked matchup. This is going to be a 12 o'clock kick. I've got Notre Dame winning this game comfortable. I almost picked Notre Dame in a blowout, but I think with them being on the road, I think Pitt will be able to keep it closer than that. But again, I think Notre Dame is in, fight or flight mode. They cannot lose another game, especially with there being no conference championship. This would be a huge resume boost for them because I don't think they have a ranked win yet. So this would be a big resume boost if they win this game against Pitt. And I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's a great coach, and he's going to coach them up. And I think Notre Dame wins this game comfortable on the road.
I've got Pitt winning this game close. I think that Pitt has a top 2 rushing defense right now in college football. What is Notre Dame leans on the run with Jeremiah Love. I think Pitt's going to force this game to be very high scoring. This is a very non-conventional Pitt team. They are a air it out, high scoring type of team that is going to try and force the other team to keep up with them. So that's going to put a lot of pressure on CJ Carr. It's going to eliminate Jeremiah Love out of this game. I think Pitt needs it. Pitt needs this win. As much as Narduzzi said the game doesn't matter, I don't know if you heard that.
He said it as a joke, though. He wasn't being serious.
Yeah, I know. But still, they don't have to win this game to win the ACC. They don't have to win this game to probably even make the playoff, but it would help. So I think Pitt wins this game close. This is another opportunity. I just need points, but I can see this one. I can see the vision on this one.
Yeah.
Because A&M threw all over Notre Dame. Miami,
Notre Dame was right there with them, though.
Well, I know.
A missed extra points, the only reason Notre Dame lost that game. They probably win it. And they might win in overtime. I'm not going to say probably, but they might have won that game in overtime.
That's fair.
And the thing is, I've seen Notre Dame win in multiple ways. Compete in multiple ways. They were in a shootout with Texas A&M. They've also been in the low scoring slugfests. I think that's valuable. And Cody is going to go Notre Dame close. All right, so let's get into our super dogs. Cody has UCLA covering the 31.5. I'm assuming that's Ohio State. Is that who they're playing this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
That ain't happening.
That is a lot of points, but I think the Jerry Neuheisel magic has kind of worn off a little bit at UCLA. But Ohio State, I haven't seen them blow anybody out, so that's actually not a terrible pick. So, what is your super dog? Unless you want me to go first, I don't care.
So, no, I need to make a clarification. So, I am picking a game that does not have an official line.
Okay.
Because I think this is an outright win.
Okay.
I've got the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles defeating Kentucky this week. 10-0 Tennessee Tech, undefeated in the FCS right now, having a program, a record-setting season for their program. They have a dog at quarterback at Kakoa Vesperis. Tennessee Tech's a real player in the FCS playoffs this year. I think they can go into Lexington and win this game.
I'm going to make an executive decision and say, because there's no line on this game, I think if Tennessee Tech loses by one possession, I'll give you the 3 points. If they outright win the game, I'll give you 10 points.
Okay.
I'll give you 10 points if they win the game.
It's all right. Good. Awesome. Deal.
All right.
I'm gonna be
mine is
locked
going to
into
be
that game on SEC Network, dude.
You're going to watch those Tennessee Tech. What are they? The Owls or something?
The Golden Eagles, baby.
Golden Eagles. I've got Northwestern covering against Michigan, 11.5. Northwestern is actually like 6-3 against the spread this year, and Michigan has a losing record against the spread. Northwestern is also at home. They're actually a pretty decent team. I think this is pretty much a lock for at least 3 points. I don't think Northwestern wins the game, but I don't necessarily need the 5 points. I'm in the lead, so I think this is a safe pick for 3 points. Give me Northwestern to cover.
My backup plan was actually UCF to cover the 24.5 against Texas Tech. It's a lot of points in a conference matchup, but I'm riding with my Golden Eagles, baby. Let's go Tennessee Tech.
That would be that would definitely get you back in it if they win that game.
This is a defining moment.
All right.
So
we're like right at an hour and 1 minute. So
look at that. Beautiful. Thank you guys for watching the Triple Coverage Podcast. Week 12 coming up. Next week is freaking week 13, and then we're almost at rivalry week, and then it's going to be the playoffs. So the end of the season is vastly approaching. The holiday season is vastly approaching. We will be here to cover it all. Thank you guys for watching. Zach, thank you for starting the show off. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Peace out.
Peace.